Welcome to Arm Solutions. Today we're doing a revisit. What we have here is the IWI Masada pistol. This is a pistol I've had for probably 4 or 5 years. I got it, about 4 or 5 years ago. And when I first shot it, I did probably 1,000 round test on it and shot very, very well. And I've held on to it throughout that time period. I would take it out when I would have extra ammunition and keep going with it, because when I first saw it, I saw a lot of promise in it. Because basically, yeah, it looked like a Glock, but it did have a couple benefits. The first, it had the optics ready. This predates the Glock for having the optics ready availability. So it had that. And it also, I liked it better because it had a better feel to it than the Glock did. It doesn't have necessarily the 2x4 feeling of the Glock. It has some actual contour to it on both sides. This also had some nice accessorizing that went with it as well. You have both a medium and large back straps, which will just by popping out one pin, you'd be able to replace those. And for as far as your optics was concerned, it came with 4 additional plates. This is just basically your cover on here, but it came with ones for the Delta Point Pro, the Venom, the Romeo 1, and the RMR. Now the sights that were on here were tritium. The ones that were on this particular model here were tritium. So taking a look at some of the features of the pistol, the magazine you have here is a steel magazine that held 17 rounds. Now, polymer versus steel. What are the benefits? What are the setbacks? Steel, they don't swell. You do have a little bit of a slighter issue with them corroding. Polymer magazines tend to be a little bit more reliable because of the fact you have less friction between the follower and the inside of the magazine. However, with these types of finishes they have these days, it doesn't really make much of a difference. Steel magazines always tend to be more durable. They never swell. You don't really have too many issues. You have a steel mag catch on it. You don't have to worry about that. So, 6-to-1 steel versus polymer. However, these steel magazines work really, really well. We basically had 6 or 7 of these magazines that we had used during testing. Never had an issue with any of them. Now, looking at the pistol, you have reversal. You have an ambidextrous magazine release that works on both sides, left and right hand side. You don't have to swap it out. It's already like that. Now you look at the frame. You have a 1913 rail on the front, and you have the same trigger type as you do with the Glock. You have a little tit in the middle that basically uses the lock. It uses the lock. And I will say it has the same challenges with the Glock. When we fired this yesterday, we probably fired nearly 1,000 rounds. I think it was about 1,000 rounds out of this yesterday. And you really got to feel that in the middle of your finger. That when the little safety in there is pressed, it doesn't really get flush. Your finger actually does feel it. So you start getting into 300, 400, or 500 rounds, your finger really starts feeling that little safety in the middle. So that's probably one of the things I guess I don't like about it. One of the things I prefer about the SIG P320 is you don't have that. You don't have to have that safety there, but some people would prefer to have that safety there. So there it is. Now you have an ambidextrous slide release, slide stop on here. Now this last video I did, one of the last ones I did, there was a discussion of slide release versus slide stop. This particular one is a slide release. As you can see how it's built out into the sides, so it's larger, so it's easily accessible with either hand. What Glock has and what some other manufacturers have is what they refer to as a slide stop. It's only designed to lock the slide open after the last shot. They're designed so when it locks back to the rear that you grab the slide and you slingshot it. Where you have something like this where you have it's enlarged, so it actually works as a slide release, so it's easily manipulated. Now Glock does now, for instance, they do offer a slide release, which they extended that outward, so it's easily accessible to use with your thumb. So that's why I want to say what we have is a slide release in here, not a slide stop. This is designed to be used as a release as well. So for disassembly, it's very similar to that of a SIG. Basically, check, make sure it's empty. You do have to pull the slide to the rear. You take use something like a release lever, you drop it down, drop it forward. And this is just like a Glock where you do have to pull the trigger to release the striker. So the slide will come right off. You flip it over. You have a captive recoil spring. It's identical to that of a Glock. It's a flat wire recoil spring. Flat recoil springs are a lot more desirable than that of the standard rocket wire. Reason being is you have more bearing surface on that spring. It'll last you a lot longer. And you drop out the barrel. Again, we have a Browning linkless type barrel. And again, these are cold hammer forged as well. These are polygon rifling, which again, everything IWI does with handguns is polygonal rifling, so it's very similar to that of a Glock. Extremely durable barrel. Looking at the slide, you can see we have our firing pin safety on here. everything that you basically would want. Very, very good machining on here. The finish is very durable as well. This has actually been through quite a bit with me, and the finish is still looking in pretty good shape. Now, looking at the frame, now I'm not going to take this thing apart because, again, it's a little bit more of a pain because you have to release a spring. But this is a module that is identical to that of like the P320, these removable chassis. So basically, you pop this out. This whole thing will remove out, and it's all one piece. You have standard 4 points of contact for your slide. Very simple mechanism. Nothing we can say about it. It's noteworthy. Very simple, stupid. So you're looking at a barrel of 4.1 inches. Again, it's a polygon type rifling. You have a weight of 23.5 ounces. You have a length of 7.5 inches. And you have a width of 1.34 inches. So for reassembly, drop it back into position. You have to drop your latch. You have to flip your latch back up. And there you have it. I think what we're going to do now is we're going to take this to the range. We're going to see how it shoots. So overall, we've had a total of 4,000 rounds through this pistol. As you can see from the target, shot rather well. Now, I have to say with this pistol, for some reason, I shoot low with it. I have to aim high with it. My guess is I need to get some sights that are a little bit lower. These are sitting up a little bit rather high, so I'm thinking for me, I would need to go with a lower sight. But the groups I shot were excellent. They tend to be on the low side. Now, of the 4,000 rounds of ammunition that we used, 3,000 of it was a Black Hills 115 grain full metal jacket, and we have 1,000 rounds of federated ordnance ammunition, which is a newer ammunition manufacturer that we work with now. They're a Idaho-based manufacturer, brand new. They manufacture their bullets and their cartridge cases in-house. And as of right now, they're making what we see here, which is what we use, which is a 9mm 124 grain. Basically, it's a duplicate of the M882 ball cartridge. So in all these rounds, we've not had any issues with it whatsoever. Accurate, reliable. As you saw from the video, you saw some magazine dumps. Basically, we loaded up 5 magazines and got them off as fast as we could. We got this pistol really, really hot. No lubrication. And this thing would go the 2,000 rounds without cleaning. Again, it's a very durable military-grade pistol. It's one of these pistols that you wonder, it didn't really get a lot of attention, and I really don't know why. Perhaps because it was new. IWI was not known for putting out polymer frame pistols. They were known for putting out Jerichos and Uzis and stuff like that. They were sort of very new to the market. Now today, IWI is still manufacturing Masada. They're making compact versions of it. This continues to be a good seller for them. I'd had this one sitting in my shelf for a while, and I figured it was time to do an update on it because, again, it was an excellent pistol that I just never thought really got a lot of really good publicity, which it probably should have. So I also want to thank our friends over at Challenge Targets for providing us with those targets we're shooting at. I enjoy shooting at steel. We probably fired a few magazines on paper just to get those paper targets to see how accurate they were. The rest of it was on steel. It's a hell of a lot more fun getting that direct feedback from from those steel targets. We got a code to get you 10% off of any of the steel targets on their webpage. Go check them out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share.